What's up, everybody? Welcome into the All-22 NFL show. You got Chris, Ray, and Bobby's back for another episode. This is the All-22 NFL show, the only show dedicated to All-22 fantasy football, the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to use personnel packages and have access to PFF grading and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com or visit the App Store today. But guys, today we're kind of promoting something a little different, right? This is Pick Pool. Pick Pool. For those that haven't heard of Pick Pool yet, Pick Pool is a mock draft contest where you get to compete against your friends and strangers to grade your drafts, see how you do, and it's free to sign up, but you could win some cash along the way. Guys, we have Pick Pool showing on the screen today. We are going to be discussing what a consensus top 10 pick draft would look like amongst the three of us, and I'm super excited about it. But Bobby, it's great to have you back.
It's great to be back. I got to be honest, my objective today is to remind Ray why he doesn't want me on this show anymore. So, wild card's back, baby. Let's go.
Oh, man. As if I don't already know every single day, but that's okay, Bobby. It's small doses. It's great to have you here.
Should we start by telling the urinal story or no?
Let's not. Okay, this is why. All right.
I'd love to hear the story. What's the urinal story?
I'll make it quick. Okay, so I was at a urinal yesterday. Okay, there's three of them, and one of them was under getting serviced, right? So me and the second guy that came in had to stand next to each other at the urinals, right? Sucks, but you do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. I heard something, and it sounded like the crinkling of a bag of chips. Chris, it's 8:45 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Like, it can't be chips. Dude's just standing there, opens up a bag of chips and starts munching. That's all I could hear.
Wait, while he's peeing in a urinal?
While he's peeing. He just got his hips out and he's just
going down
on chips. 8:45 in the that's not even the weirdest part that it's 8:45 in the morning. But Ray said it before, there's freaking particles coming up, Who does that?
But to have the skill, right? Direct your pee, have a bag of chips open, and to be feeding yourself all at this. I guess my question is, was he peeing the whole time, or was it this is an old dude that was struggling a little bit? Maybe he needed a little break in between, right? There was a nice little flow. He took a break, had to have a little bite of chips.
Chris, you could hear everything. There was no break in flow.
Wow.
He was not old.
So I think that's actually pretty talented. I mean, it's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life, but it's talent.
Yeah.
That could be a sport.
I kind of felt like that lady on the plane. I'm like, this dude's not real. He's not a real person.
That's a cool way to kick off the pod.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah,
Ray didn't glad to tell that story, but we did.
Good transition, Ray. Speaking of talent, let's jump into the first pick, which is the Tennessee Titans. Guys, I mean, it's pretty chalk at this point that everybody thinks it's going to be Cam Ward. Do we all think it's going to be Cam Ward?
Yeah, you're going to notice that my theme for today is going to be the appreciation of a nice pair, right? Apples and oranges way overrated, but everyone loves a nice pair. I think Cam Ward, Will Levis, great pair of quarterbacks. Let's do it.
All right. Cam Ward at pick number 1. We're going to put it in there. Cam Ward, for those that don't know, quarterback out of University of Miami, about a 5-year starter. This was his breakout year, showed us some really great things, knows how to manipulate a pocket like no other, great ball velocity, good arm. Nice player, but there is still a lot of risk attached to Cam Ward in my mind just because of the accuracy issues from a down-to-down basis. So while it is kind of like the chalk pick at number 1, I don't think in a normal draft, this is the consensus number 1 guy. But we're going to write it in, and we're going to go to pick number 2, which is the Browns. I think the Browns, there are a bunch of options at the table. I mean, are we trusting the rumor mill that it's just Travis Hunter, or do we think there are other players at play here?
I think it's Hunter all the way. It just seems very Browns. They have Garrett back. They signed him to a big deal, and I would love to see Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter just on the opposite ends of the offensive line of scrimmage or the defensive line of scrimmage. But I think they're zeroing in on Hunter. They want a big play weapon. There's buzz around Hunter. It sells tickets. It's flashy. I think Hunter's the pick here.
I agree that Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett would be a really nice pair. I don't see how you don't make that pick. Although I get the draw with Travis Hunter. I think it's Travis Hunter. But if it were me, I'm picking Abdul Carter to pair with Myles Garrett, 100%.
especially considering they have really good corners, right? But the GM has said a couple times now that they see Travis Hunter as more of a receiving weapon. That team on offense is getting a little shaky, right? Like they obviously don't have a quarterback. The offensive line, I think all 5 of their offensive linemen's contracts are up after this year. So like it's going to look super different, right? They just signed Judy, so they feel comfortable in Judy, but it sounds like they just feel very comfortable that they need to start restocking that offensive side of the ball. So I get it. We're going to make the pick. It's going to be Travis Hunter, and we're going to move on to the Giants at number 3. If for those that, haven't been listening to the podcast for a long time, Bobby is our resident Giant fan. So he is the one that has been, I don't know how he has such a thick head of hair because it's been a stressful couple of years for him.
Yep. I have thick head of hair in spite of the Giants. It's getting gray though. I'll tell you that. But I would go Abdul Carter here. I think if you want me to keep my hair and keep looking like this for you, Chris, Shedeur Sanders cannot be the pick here. I think
Shedeur can't be the pick. Is there anybody else that you would be comfortable if they did select?
It's Abdul Carter. That's it.
Okay. Ray, do you want to throw any thorns in there?
No, I mean, there's a steep drop off after Abdul Carter here. So and they do need a quarterback, but if you don't view Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders as high enough to be picked 3rd overall, I think it has to be Abdul Carter. There's no other way to go.
Okay, so we'll make that pick. I don't think we're doing trades right now, but in my mock draft that I did, I have the Giants trading back with the Bears to pick number 10, and I have the Giants picking Will Johnson with that pick. People might hate that, but I think if you could get 2 first-round picks for next year, you get a good cornerback this year. I like it, but I understand Abdul Carter is the elite player in this draft. In my top 50, right? I had him as my number 1 prospect in the draft, so I totally get it.
It's like you want bad things for me.
It sounds like
it makes life a little more interesting. That's all, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks.
You got it, dude. So, all right, let's do Abdul Carter. We'll move on to the Patriots. This is a little chalk to this point, so I'm hoping we could throw a little chaos in here now.
Oh, you throw the chaos. What do you want the Patriots to do here? Because to me, the 2 elite talents that are no-brainers here just went off the board, and they don't need a quarterback. So what do you do if you're the Patriots?
I think that there are other elite players still available. They just aren't at valuable positions, right? And we talked about how the Patriots have a bunch of tight ends on their roster still today. Hunter Henry, they paid decent money. They have some depth behind that as well. So I don't think they go tight end, which I do think there are elite tight ends in this draft. I don't think they go running back. The needs at the offensive line and the receiver are just too big for it. But I think we could at least create some chaos by saying which offensive lineman or receiver do they take? Is it definitely Ted McMillan? It sounds like Ted McMillan might be falling in this draft, which is a surprise to me. But I think at offensive line, people are just saying that it's Will Campbell, but I don't have Will Campbell as the number 1 tackle. I don't have him as a tackle at all, right? So I don't see them taking a guard at number 4. I think they might do that because their coaching has said a couple times that they think Will Campbell is a tackle, but I just don't. So, I mean, my pick would be Armand Membu here.
No chance at all that they go, the best player available in the class is Ashton Genty, and it's not like they have a great running back situation either. No chance at all they go Ashton Genty.
Great running back really helped out Daniel Jones a little while ago, huh? It's really good for a young quarterback. That's priority to do when you have a young quarterback. No. Okay. Honestly, I'm with Chris here. I also like Armand Membu a lot. I see them more taking Will Campbell, but I could go either way on this one, but definitely not Ashton Genty.
So let's throw a little fire in there. Let's go Armand Membu at 4 to the Patriots. This way we could at least have something different, right? It'll show how this might play out for the other teams in the top 10, make things a little bit more interesting. But Armand Membu from Missouri, the offensive tackle, plays the right tackle position in college, could play probably either way in the pros. The Patriots just, the thing is they have holes at all 4 spots outside of center, I think, right? So it fits the need anyway.
Guys, we're talking about nice pairs, right?
Yeah.
Membu and Morgan Moses, that's not a bad pair.
Membu.
The Giants pick Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. That's a nice pair.
That's a trio.
I mean? Yeah, it's more of a trio, but like you'd have two at a time, you know?
Yeah. thick pair. We got some thick pairs right now, guys.
That's some great pairs, guys.
Yeah, some hefty, girthy pairs.
I think just for the sake of predictiveness, I think, like you said, I don't agree, but I do think they might go Campbell over M'Bu. So I wouldn't agree with that. But
Stop changing the subject, Ray.
Move on to the Jaguars.
Ray, what pair would you foresee for the Jags?
Yeah, what's your favorite pair?
Is this maybe Mason Graham, Josh Allen? Nice pair.
Mason Graham, was it Eric Armstead there on the interior? I think those complement each other really well. And then you have, like Trevon Walker, Josh Allen. All of a sudden, that's a really nice defensive front. And Mason Graham, I think, fits like a glove there. He's not the biggest, but he's a phenomenal football player who's uber productive, very high floor, and still really good ceiling. I think we talked about chalk. I think that's the move here. I don't see how you pivot away from Mason Graham. I mean, I'll say Genty again, right? To argue with myself. It's possible, but I think Mason Graham's the pick here.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Like, I also think it's Mason Graham, but like, I think he's only a top 10 pick in this draft. I like him, but like, I'm not in full bloom love with him, but it's probably Mason Graham.
That's where my mind was too, Bobby. When we did the positional film breakdown of Mason Graham, it was to me like in a normal draft, this is like pick 24, right? Yeah. But like in this draft, it's like I had him at I think 11 or 12, just because it is a weaker class. But I do think it's the pick for the Jags in this situation. I could see an argument like, hey, get Ted McMillan, really build out that receiving core. Armand M'Bu would be my pick if he was still on the board here. I would love that for this team to build the trenches, because I think the coach coming from Tampa Bay, that's how he built that offensive line, right? So I think it would make sense for them. But to me, yeah, let's put Mason Graham in there. For those that don't know, defensive interior from Michigan, very fast, speedy, quick, smaller defensive interior player that wins in the run game with his finesse and just kind of like overall technical skills. But again, smaller length, smaller measurement. So something that still kind of worries me. But the Raiders are at 6. Bobby, why don't you lead this conversation off? What do you think the Raiders are going to do with pick number 6?
Yeah, everyone like, what do you say, chalks, Chris? That's the word you've been using. Everyone chalks Ashton Genty to the Raiders like it's a given. And like, I just don't look at the Raiders roster and say, yeah, no, running back's that's what's going to make the difference here. You know what I mean? If I'm them, I'm between Will Johnson and right now who Will Campbell's on there. I'd take either of the two Wills. You got a great pair of Wills out there. Take one of those, that pair.
It's like a
do it, Ray, and I did it.
It's like a will it or won't it,
Yeah, dude. We should talk about what a will it is one day.
Yeah, one day.
I think right now I at least try to build up a foundation of my offensive line, so that way when I do move on from Geno and bring in a young quarterback, that foundation is there for him. So I'm going to go Will Campbell here.
So, Bobby, that's what you would do if you were the GM, like you would be in All-22 fantasy football.
Yeah.
But predictively, do we think that's what the Raiders are going to do?
Yeah, I think they're as smart as me. Yeah.
I kind of agree that with Tom Brady in the building now, I mean, you look at like the Patriots' history while Brady was there. Did they ever really draft a running back in the first round and see that be successful? Like, to me, that just doesn't really seem like something Brady would do. And I think he does have a lot of say in what they're doing now. So I agree. It's either going to be offensive line or corner. That would be kind of the way I go. A couple of the edge rushers stick out to me still, but they have invested so much in Max Crosby and what was his name a couple of years ago, the edge rusher they got that hasn't really produced.
Tyree Wilson.
Tyree Wilson, right? Like they have put a lot of resources. Fail fast for sure. But, and I mean, Tyree Wilson, if you moved him on the inside, like he's a monster dude. So like, I think he could be successful with his hand in the ground more like over like guard tackle. So, I mean, I would definitely still consider edge rusher here, but let's go offensive line.
Yeah. Cause Chris, especially you said Will Campbell, you think projects more as a guard. Mm-hmm. Like right now their starting right guard is Alex Kappa. He's almost 31 years old. And he just had a season where he graded at 50.5 PFF grade. Like maybe time to start building up.
I'm with it.
I think they should go Ashton Genty. I think they will go Ashton Genty, but I'm but one voice here. Bobby comes in here and decreases my influence, and then we end up with Will Campbell going to the Las Vegas Raiders instead of the best remaining player in the draft.
Yeah.
So
You act like anybody knows what's going to happen, you know?
no, that's fair.
Everyone's
Okay.
wrong. That's the fun thing about Big Bull. Everybody's wrong, right? It's just how less wrong are you than the other people?
Fine. Will Campbell to the Raiders at 6.
Will
There you
Campbell,
go. That's
Dylan
not
Parham.
shocking.
Great pair of guards, right?
Nice pair, thick pair, another girthy one. All right, let's go to the Jets. Ray, why don't you lead off the conversation about the Jets?
So the New York Jets, they're the Jets. I mean, what can we say? The sum of all its parts, just the end result did not equal that at all. They had the Rodgers fiasco, a lot of holes, but quarterback again, I don't think is really in the cards here. They need weapons on offense besides Garrett Wilson, and I think Tyler Warren would make a lot of sense here. They don't have great production from the tight end position. Like I said, they need more weapons, and Warren is versatile. He could line up out wide, in line, immediately be a good blocker for you day one. You can get creative with him and get the ball in his hands. Big yak guy. I think that's the move here. I also didn't anticipate Ashton Genty being on the board. I don't think he would go here because they do have Breece Hall, and even though they don't seem to be in a hurry to extend him or really have him as part of the long-term plans for the franchise, I still don't think they would take a running back this highly given the lack of strength in that roster overall. I think they go Tyler Warren.
Bobby, do you have like the depth charts up? Is that what you were looking at before? Because
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
Not the
interested.
depth chart. It's just like the starting lineups on PS.
Yeah. Go to the Jets for me, please, because I see safety as a need here, right? I know corner because they lost their number 2 corner there. I don't think they go corner, DJ Reed, right? But safety, I think would be interesting. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, right, is because 2 less valuable positions we're talking about, safety and tight end. We have elite grades on Tyler Warren, or at least I do. But safety, I think Malachi Starks is like crazy valuable and super productive. But why has it been that recently teams just will not take safeties in the top, even like 15 picks, right? They do it for tight end still. It doesn't matter that they have same positional weight, and tight ends take a very long time to develop. For some reason, they go tight end, but they never go safety.
I don't know. I mean, what was it a few years ago? We were able to get who's the safety for
Tyler Nubin?
No. Yeah, well, Tyler Nubin fell. But a couple years before that, Xavier McKinney wasn't supposed to be there in the second round, and that's where we got him. It's like it just seems to be one of those things that just keeps happening.
Brian Branch is another example.
Really take one here, knowing that like probably some good ones are going to fall to you in round 2.
Right. So, I mean, I think Tyler Warren is a great pick in this spot. He's kind of been, I've said it a couple of times, the chalk pick for the Jets. So I like it. Just kind of trying to throw out a little chaos, see what else we could kind of muster up.
You don't think anybody trades up here to get in front of New Orleans for a quarterback?
You're going trade?
I don't know. Do you think like the Steelers would say, okay, the Saints are there, they might take Shador, and if Tomlin really likes Shador, I'm just throwing it out there. If there's a quarterback needy team and you're about to get to the Saints, do you make a move to get up in front of them to get your guy?
That's a long way to go from pick 21.
Yeah, they win too many games.
And if you're the Jets, like you need good players. Like are you really gonna set yourself back and go in a different tier of players at pick 21? I don't know. I think they go corner here again, going with the whole nice pair theme. Like you already have Sauce Gardner. How sick would it be to put another solid corner on the other side and get a really nice pair? I know it sounds crazy, but like I love Maxwell Hairston. I don't think he goes top 10. Predictively, I think it's probably Will Johnson. If it falls like this.
I think Will Johnson's stock is falling here because he never ran. If we're not doing a trade here, and I think it's less than 50 that someone trades up here. New Orleans is lurking there at 9, then I think the pick is going to be Warren. So I don't know, maybe Chris, you have to be the tiebreaker here.
Well, like I said, I'm all for chaos in this one, so I'm cool going corner. Something interesting I've been seeing, and again, I think it's smoke season this week leading up to the draft is like pure smoke. But I've been hearing a lot of things that there are a few teams that like Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. So we're all saying it's Tyler Warren chalk top 10, but the smoke is telling me that it might be Loveland.
You're choking on the smoke. That's absolutely not it here.
I'm not buying it, dude. I'm not buying it. I'm calling it out though. Let's
You're
go
not
Will
buying
Johnson
it,
just
then
for
we'll put
fun.
it in here.
Let's go Will Johnson for fun here.
I'm gonna stay arguing here. I don't know why I'm spending so long on the Jets here, but if you're talking about a nice pair and they have Sauce Gardner, kind of a big, tall press, kind of lengthy corner on one side.
You're gonna say Jahdae Barron, and I'm gonna hate.
Wouldn't
you.
it make more sense for Jahdae Barron here, who's
no
a nice compliment and of those skills, who's not 6'3" in long range, but more of the smooth, smaller, can go into the nickel type of guy and a bit more versatile chess piece.
No.
I don't like this pair. I'm going to let the record show I do not like this pair, but it's fine. This is what happens with
Maxwell Harrison, guys. It'll be fun for everybody.
Definitely.
No.
Harrison here.
I love what Maxwell Harrison too. It's just, I think he's like a top 40 guy, not a top 10 guy.
Will Johnson it is, and this is why the Jets stay the Jets, but fine.
All right, let's go to the Panthers. Talk about teams that stay the way they are, right? What are the Panthers doing? Because they have holes everywhere, and I don't really know where to start. I think you can make a case for almost any player available and say that it makes sense for them. So if I was the Panthers, if you pull up, Ray, if you just hit that add player button, let's take a look at just like best players available and see what we think, right? Like, could they go Tyler Warren and just make their team better, right? It's the best player available on our big board here. Is that the pick, right? Ashton Genty, if they go running back again, I think Panthers fans would probably jump off of the closest bridge. So maybe not that. Hearing a lot of Jalen Walker to the Panthers, right? Linebacker, edge hybrid. I see him more as an edge rusher, but more of a rotational piece because of his size. You could shore up the offensive line with Josh Simmons. I don't know, guys. Where are you leaving?
I think their defense is a mess. And I think they like the versatility of Jalen Walker to kind of shore up two spots with his versatility there. Linebacker, then at passing downs, nice blitzer or edge rusher off the outside. I think that's probably putting a bit too much on Walker's plate in a not so great situation, but I think that's where they would go because the defense needs a lot of work.
I feel like they swung and missed big time last year with Jonathan Brooks. And you guys talk about failing fast. It's like, hey, if that's a fail, let's go get Ashton Genty right here and let's make up for that. Do I think they're Ashton Genty away from being even like a 9-8 team? No. But I do think in the long run it's something that would be good for Bryce Young and it would be good for that offense.
I think Genty's underrated in this spot just because they did shore up that offensive line tremendously, right? So like the interior of that offensive line is built to have a guy like Genty be super, super successful there. But I can make the same argument for Ted McMillan, right? I think, they drafted a receiver in the first round last year, but I don't think he's a number one receiver that you just hang your hat on. They had some success with other guys like in the later rounds, but more complementary pieces. Like I could make a really strong argument that Ted McMillan is the pick here, but I kind of agree with Ray on this one that defense is such a mess that you just kind of have to put a piece in there and pray that it works out. Jalen Walker, we talked about it, right? If like the reasons people fail is because they go to teams and are asked to do way too much. And I think Jalen Walker, unfortunately, would be in a really hard position to succeed. But predictive mock wise, I think that's probably my pick as well.
Yeah, I do think edge probably makes more sense. Especially when your only edge rusher really is Jadeveon Clowney. Like I wouldn't even call that a nice pair. I'd call it a pretty lopsided, pretty average pair.
It's like one's down here, one's up here, right?
Yeah. It's like nothing.
Glad I can't see that. Glad I can't see that. All right. I think this is a wild card.
The Saints are the wild card team. And all right, so rumors are afloat, right? That Derek Carr actually isn't super injured and is only trying to like play his cards to get an extension with the team by saying, hey, I either want out or an extension, or I'm going to get this surgery and I'll just sit out this last year and then go somewhere else next year. So I don't know if quarterback is as pressing of a need as maybe we think it is today. So I don't really know what the Saints are going to do here. Chris Olave's head injury makes receiver probably a need. And then defense, right? Defense. It's just gotten super old there in New Orleans.
So here's the thing. New head coach, Kellen Moore, he has time. He's a new coach, so he's not going to get fired when they're terrible this year. He's got some time, so I don't think he's going to rush to reach for a quarterback, but maybe he likes a quarterback here. If he doesn't, I don't think he forces it, which to me, you mentioned where you see here on team need wide receiver, they really need everything. You could have had a whole list of buttons here for their need. Ted McMillan complements Chris Olave well and could be a number one target in the event that Olave, isn't long for the league given some of his concussion history. I think that's a great pair, Bobby. I hope you agree with me on that. They complement each other really well. Big body target for McMillan, along with kind of the more smooth over the middle and yak guy and Olave. I think that pair works. So if McMillan is still on the board here, I really hope they don't take Genty and then just ruin him in a terrible situation where he'll still be productive but get just beaten up game after game, year over year. McMillan might be the pick here.
Genty and Kamara would be a fun pair too. That'd be an insane pair,
Sure.
But I agree with you. I think McMillan here if he's there. But I could also see and I know you guys have heard me say this in the past, but Jackson Dart maybe being the pick here, even ahead of Shedeur Sanders. The one smoke that I do buy is that the Saints don't know what they're going to do, but we do know that they don't like Shedeur Sanders. Kind of buy it. I don't know why, but I do.
Interesting. I think something else that's kind of interesting is the Giants, Saints, and Colts all technically could be in the quarterback conversation next year. And they all did kind of these minor moves to cure their problems, but it's enough where they don't have to draft somebody right now. And those are the three teams that the Mannings played in. And it's almost like all three of them are trying to make a play to get the next Manning. And I kind of think that's what's actually happening. I really do. So I am also of the mindset that those three teams may punt quarterback down the road to try to have a shot at Arch. I think edge rusher could definitely be a play here. Mike Green, if you're not super worried about the off-field stuff, I think he's a very safe pick for them here. But those off-field concerns are huge. So I'm cool with Tet. Let's do Tet. To the Saints here at number 9. Ted McMillan, receiver from Arizona, big body receiver, kind of more of a possession guy than just a baller deep threat. So more well-rounded than a lot of other receivers at his size. So a pick I really like there. And we go to the Bears, and I've been saying it. If Genty makes it to the Bears, hallelujah. We've been waiting years for a running back just to get drafted by the team that makes the most sense. And it hasn't happened, right? It's every year they go to a team that doesn't have the offensive line. And we see them struggle for years before they go to the Eagles and win a Super Bowl in their first year and break all records, right? But I would love it if the Bears got Genty here. I think it would be tremendous.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It is. I will say, however, it would be fun if they went Tyler Warren too.
It would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool to plug into that offense.
Nice pair, him and Kmet.
I think also a nice pair, and I know you hate this player, Chris, but I think DeAndre Swift and Ashton Genty, that's a fun pair. You can mess around with that pair a little bit.
I don't hate anybody.
Yeah. I think this is the best case scenario for the Bears by far. They're throwing a parade if this is the scenario they end up with. Yeah. But I think Genty's a pick here.
Yeah, I think you sprint that up to the board.
Yep.
Guys, I feel like we did that so fast. It's a little sad that we're already done, but that's our top 10. Ray, do you want to read it off for us real quick?
All right. Yeah. So the All-22 consensus top 10, a.k.a. Ray just getting overruled because Bobby's on the show now. Cam Ward to the Titans, first overall. Second overall to the Browns, Travis Hunter as primarily a wide receiver. Third to the Giants is Abdul Carter, the pass rusher out of Penn State. The Patriots at 4 go with Armand Membu, the offensive tackle from Missouri. At 5, the Jaguars take Mason Graham. At 6, the Raiders take Will Campbell for guard. At 7, the Jets take Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. At 8, the Panthers take Jalen Walker, linebacker / edge rusher out of Georgia. 9, the Saints go with Tet McMillan out of Arizona, the receiver. And 10, the Bears sprint up to the podium to select running back Ashton Genty from Boise State.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we should submit this, guys. We obviously won't win money if we actually win the contest, right? We'll bow out, but I think it would be fun for people to be able to compete with us. So let's make sure we get this in there so people can see it and see this fun little game that we played, right? But everybody, you can go to the App Store if you have an iPhone on iOS and download the Pickpool app today. If not, you can go to pickpool.app and do it on the web. Great fun way to just kind of play the NFL draft. It gives you another way to compete, right? Everybody does mock drafts, but none of them matter until now, right? The pick is your win. Go to pickpool.app and play the game today. But everybody, thank you also for tuning into this podcast. Give us a like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF. And give us a review wherever you watch and listen to your podcasts. And have a great rest of your day.
Go.